Last week on Behind the Gates, Jeffrey Hurlings gave us a glimpse of what might have been in only his second GP after returning from his second injury of the year. The Bullet living up to his name, leaving Afyon with 1-1 in his pocket and a first GP victory of the season. Behind the Dutchman, compatriot Glenn Coldenhoff continued his hot streak of form, while Jeremy Seewer edged ever closer to clinching second in the championship. In MX2, Jorge Prado bagged a 13th 1-1 of the season, while TKO pulled out of the races suffering from a virus. With first and second set in stone, interest has turned to the battle for third in the standings, with Jago Hitz extending his advantage to 10 points over Tom Vial coming into the last round of the season. For our 2019 finale, we are in Shanghai as MXGP visits China for the very first time. Here, we're lucky enough to experience a real taste of the Orient. This is a totally different world in a culture completely removed from our Western ways. A purpose-built, brand new facility on the outskirts of the city, boasting a track that is something completely new for everybody, riders and teams alike. Can Seewer close out second in MXGP, and who will come out on top of the battle for third in MX2? We're about to find out at the JUST1 MXGP of China, presented by Hehui Investment Group.
Jeffrey Hurlings takes us for a spin around the Shanghai International Off-Road Circuit here for the MXGP of China into turn one. As soon as we exit, we're over the Fox hole shot line, and then we have a single crest into turn two, a 180 left. The ground here a mix between sand and loose dirt. It's very heavy and very loamy. We have a double jump here that leads into three giant rollers, so as you can see, when it gets rutty, difficult to find a good clean line through there, but the next turn here drops into and out of this bomb hole, and then we arrive at the Monster Energy triple jump, 30 meters from point to point. Exit the next right-hander. We have a single, another single, and then a double, which is a bit of a stretch to make it all the way over, especially on an MX2 bike. Then when we exit this left-hand turn, we are into a series of waves that continue through the long sweeping left-hander. Up and over the city step-up, and into this bowl turn, banked to the outside through this right-hander, over the Monster Energy crest, and and a small double into the next left-hand turn. You can see to the outside, there is no double jump there at all. Exit the corner over a single. We have another triple jump here, not as big as the first one. And then we jump up onto this plateau, very difficult to get over it as a double jump. Then as we go through the left, it's lower to the outside than it is on the inside, so there is a choice of lines through there. Off cambered as we go right, and then over the single and into a tight right. On the gas, again higher on the left, through another bomb hole, over the just one single, and then 90 degrees through the next right-hander. The next straight sees two singles, and then this is the final corner on the racetrack. A single on the inside there just to upset the balance of the bike. The iPhone roll-up takes the riders down past pit lane. A long drag, a heavy straight over the single and over the Monster Energy finish line jump before continuing left and back down the start straight.
After Argentina, we went back to the facility in Rome. We made a very good training, but in one of the trainings I made quite a big crash, and I had like an hematoma underneath the shoulder blade, and for some reason I couldn't breathe. I just had to let it heal and rest. I didn't expect to dominate the next round after the comeback, after the injury. It was impressive to come back and win both motos. It was also, for me, good for the confidence, as I knew that if having an injury and coming back without training and I still could win, that I was in a good level. It was great to get the red plate back in Portugal, especially in front of my fans. In the first moto in France, Joe Geerts got me 2 laps ago. It was a reminder to keep pushing, and nothing comes easy. You gotta work hard for your moto wins. Well, Jago, it's a very fast rider. I knew that already before the start of the season. Russia was a very tough race as well. First moto I got a pretty bad start. I think I was around the 20th positions right after the start when I crossed the finish line, and then I had to come back to first in the last 2 laps to go. So it was a great first moto, and then I could win also that second moto, and it was a great weekend. In Palma this year, the first moto was quite hard, and halfway I had a small crash. So then Tom, my teammate, passed me and he pulled a bit away, so I really want to win that moto, and I really pushed and I get him, I passed him and won that moto, and that second moto was very special. I mean, I think it was the most special moto of the year. I was leading, I think, in the first lap, made a small mistake, and suddenly I was in 7th position, and then I started to slowly get better, get confidence with the track, got to 2nd position and tried to get Olsen, but then was too late. Olsen is a very consistent rider. I mean, he's always there. Even if you think he's not there, he's still on the podium. Well, the week before Sweden, I didn't touch my bike, just to make sure I arrived to Sweden. It was nice getting there also and getting the World Championship with my whole team over there and my family, of course. 2020 will be for sure interesting. We will be 7 world champions racing the MXGP class, so as you can imagine, it's a very good level. So I need to get prepared and ready to face next season full in shape.
世界摩托车越野锦标赛中国上海站比赛开赛，我谨代表奉献110万人民，向来自各个的选手。
A hot and humid final round here in China And as a gate drop for MX2 Race 1, it was Tom Vial who grabbed his 8th foxhole shot of the season. The guy he's chasing down in the championship, Jago Kiertz here with the GoPro, was buried in about 6th position on the opening lap. Just 10 points separated the two riders coming into this final round. Vial then fell on the opening lap, and he re-emerged just a couple of positions ahead of the Yamaha rider. Up front, it was Jorge Prado, Calvin Verlanderen, and then just behind them, Vial and Rowan van der Moosdijk as Jago Kiertz started to move forward. Mitch Evans wasn't so fortunate. A slight bogging problem with his engine forced him to retire. He would line up for race 2 though, later on in the day. Thomas Kjær Olsen was putting on a charge after starting just inside the top 10. He'd found his way past Jago Kiertz and Rowan van der Moosdijk. And then he went after Tom Vial in what was an epic battle for 3rd place. The tall Dane eventually found his way through. But then Vial came searching back for more. He ran off the track though in the process. He had to give up the position to the number 19. But a few corners later, Vial asserted his authority as he chased down that 3rd place in the championship. All the while under the watchful eye of the number 193 Jago Kiertz. Vial then made this pass up the inside to get himself back into 3rd, and just as soon as he'd gone through, Jago Kiertz also followed the Frenchman. He was now into 4th place, losing just 2 points to the number 28. Rowan van der Moosdijk was having a fantastic ride, but Jago Kiertz wasn't about to let that 3rd place in the championship slip by. Calvin Verlanderen, on his own in 2nd position, was starting to get caught by Vial in the latter stages of the race. But it was Jorge Prado who was out front on his own, as he had been all year. Race win number 30 was on the horizon for the Red Bull KTM rider. Following home in 2nd position was Calvin Verlanderen. Vial was 3rd, Kiertz 4th, Olsen was 5th. Heading into the final MX2 race of the season, just 8 points separated Jago Kiertz and Tom Vial as they battled over 3rd place in the championship. But it was Jorge Prado with foxhole shot number 23 for the season. His teammate Vial was right there behind him in 2nd. Jago Kiertz was in 3rd. A better start this time for Thomas Kjær Olsen. He was in 4th, just ahead of Calvin Verlanderen. Maxime Renault made a pretty decent start, and he was also in amongst the front runners in the early stages of the race. Verlanderen, 2nd in race 1, and was having to fight through traffic if he was to get on the podium. Brian Moreau had a good start, but then he fell. He started 6th, but would DNF race 2, not the way the Frenchman would want to end the 2019 season. Verlanderen was still pushing, and the number 39 of Rowan van der Moosdijk was trying to chase him home as the two riders were trying to fight over the final place for the MX2 berth for the Netherlands for the upcoming Motocross of Nations in 2 weeks' time. Up front, the two KTMs were separated by less than 2 seconds. Prado eventually did hang on for race win number 31, and with it his 31st career victory. Tom Vial, 2nd overall with his 7th podium of the year, and Verlanderen did make the podium, 3rd overall. Final championship classification, Jorge Prado, Thomas Kjær Olsen and Jago Kiertz just edged out Tom Vial, but the winning margin that Prado beat Olsen this year was 213 points, making Jorge Prado the most successful point scorer in motocross history in terms of winning margins over his closest rival. Stefan Everts previously held that record with 210 points when he won the MX1 title in 2006. Welcome to the 200 Club, Mr. Prado. Jago Kietz receiving his bronze medal for third overall. Thomas Kjær Olsen second overall, after placing third in the previous two campaigns, but another gold medal around the neck of Jorge Prado, a two-time world champion, as he heads up to MXGP in 2020.
Before this season I made some changes. They were positive. When we started the season I felt that I was really close to 100%. You know, I couldn't wait that season start. Yeah, in Matterli was like one of my favorite tracks, so I was really looking forward to going there. First one, I was behind Tony and then make a quick pass on him, and then I had a big crash. The bike was completely bent. I finished like third. I was really disappointed because I know I had the speed to win. Arco is always something special. The fans there, they made sport, you know, different.
Go after you guys, sir! We're cheering for you!
It was super important to get that first win. That race I really start to believe that I can go out there and even fight for the title. It was the turning point of the season. Yeah, Mantova, let's say the toughest one this season. I think I had in both motos the fastest lap of the race, but I couldn't make a pass. It was one main line. The bike just stopped and I went over the handlebar. The gap was like getting bigger and bigger. It was 40 points, so that's nearly almost one GP. 3 weeks after, we were in Russia and we had a red plate. Latvia, I didn't really know that I won the GP because, you know, with the 6-1, it's like you need a luck to win the GP, you know. But I was super happy to win another one. I didn't saw Tony's crash, but I saw the video. It was like big crash. He was the biggest driver this year. You never wish to someone to get injured. Tony was the only guy till then that we had a nice battles. You know, our pace were really high. It's definitely a shame that from then on he had to miss the GPs and he was not on the races. Coming to Lommel, I kind of like always prepare myself mentally to go there. You know, winning the GP was fantastic. When you win in Lommel, it means something. So I was super happy, and especially like because in the past I was always struggling in the sand. Imola, when I wake up on Sunday morning, I was tired because I didn't sleep a lot, and I know that is one of the most important days of my life. I was quite aggressive in the beginning. I tried to come in the lead as soon as possible, make a couple of mistakes, even fell. I managed to make a couple of passes to come on the 5th place. When I finished the line, it was like another dreams came true. And already really looking forward to 2020. Many big names, I mean, really good riders gonna line up in MXGP class, and I think we're gonna have exciting races and really interesting.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you very much.
After winning the qualifying race on Saturday, Glenn Koldenoff surged to his 4th foxhole shot of the season by holding a nice tight line through turn 1. Tim Geiser ran slightly wide. Jeremy Seewer thought he'd emerge second, but he just got past on the exit of turn 2 as Gauthier Paulin, in a fight for 3rd place in the championship, was buried in around about 9th place. The guy he was fighting for in that 3rd place battle, Glenn Koldenoff, was up front, leading the way on the standing construct KTM. Jeremy Seewer right behind him in 2nd, but pushing to make moves early on, as was Jeffrey Hurlings. He moved past Geiser for 3rd on the opening lap, but it wasn't for long. Geiser pushed back past the Dutchman in the very next turn. Koldenoff was trying to pull away, but he was under the watchful eye of Jeremy Seewer. The number 91, though, overcooked it coming into land at the start of lap 2. And the Monster Energy Yamaha rider was flung from his motorcycle. He did pick himself up and rejoin the race, though, just behind Geiser. He already had a rock off the rear wheel of Glenn Koldenoff's KTM whilst he was behind him that split his right eyelid. And it would lead to another mistake here. Blurred vision and blood-splattered lenses, forcing the Swiss rider to fall once more, this time lacerating his chin. Gauthier Paulin was trying his best to pull through the field. He would eventually come through to 8th. Ivan Monticelli was having a bit of a fight on here as he latched onto the back of Jeremy Seewer, who was fighting his way back through the field, who also passed the 27 of Arminas Jasikonis on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and then his teammate Paul Jonas as he got through to an eventual 4th place finish. It was a tight squeeze, but the Swiss rider managed to find a gap. Geiser, Hurlings and Koldenoff, though, were too far gone. As Jeremy Van Hoorbeek was having a fantastic ride, he eventually came home in 7th place, but this was the battle everybody was keeping an eye on. Koldenoff, Hurlings and Geiser. Less than 2 seconds separating them in the final couple of laps. But in the end, it was Koldenoff who hung on for his 4th race win of the year. Hurlings was 2nd, Geiser was 3rd. Having secured 2nd overall in the final classification, Jeremy Seewer was in no mood for hanging around, and it was he who grabbed his 5th foxhole shot of the season. Glenn Koldenoff and Gauthier Paulin were separated by 1 point in the battle for 3rd. Koldenoff now up to 3rd in the championship. And once again, he made another fantastic start in race 2. Gauthier Paulin once again buried in around about 9th, 10th place on his Monster Energy Yamaha, just behind Jeffrey Hurlings and the number 41 of Paul Jonas. He still had a lot of work to do. That 3rd place in the title chase was starting to slip by the Frenchman. Koldenoff was quickly into the lead, just like he was in race 1. Jeremy Seewer wasn't letting him go, though, and they were both under the watchful eye of Tim Geiser. Koldenoff tried to pull clear, and he did briefly, but Seewer was back onto the rear wheel. And this time he was bringing Geiser and Hurlings in what was turning out to be a 4-way scrap for the lead in the final race of the year. The Jerryman Van Hoorbeek was in 5th place. On the Honda SR Motor Blues machine, Gauthier Paulin languished a couple of positions behind him. Tim Geiser overjumped the finish line jump and got caught in some trackside banners. By the time he freed himself, he'd fallen from 3rd to 6th and would have to charge again. In the second half of the race, he latched onto the rear wheel of Jonas and made that pass on the Latvian to move into 5th. Whilst up front, Jeffrey Hurlings sensed an opportunity to win the Grand Prix. He squeezed Seewer to the inside in turn 1 to take over 2nd position as Geiser found his way past Van Hoorbeek to move into 4th. Koldenoff's time at the front, though, was limited. Hurlings was all over the back of him as the 2 Dutch riders challenged for supremacy in the final race of the year. A lap and a bit to go. Hurlings seized the opportunity, and that was all it took to put the Red Bull KTM ahead of the standing construct KTM. And Jeffrey Hurlings went on to win race 2 and the overall Grand Prix. Koldenhoff second, Seewer third, Geiser fourth, Van Horbit fifth. The overall for the weekend, though, the final round, Jeffrey Herlings taking his 86th Grand Prix victory. Glenn Koldenhoff second overall, Seewer third, and the overall, Geiser, Seewer and Koldenhoff. Paulin just missing that bronze medal in 2019. Arno Tonus, who was injured in qualifying, he managed to hold on to 5th place in the championship. And Tim Geiser, victorious in the 2019 World Championship as the world champion, also joined Jorge Prado and Stefan Everts in the 200 club. 202 points clear of Jeremy Seewer in this year's campaign. Welcome to the 200 club as well, Mr. Tim Geiser. Another piece of history made here in China.
What a way to bring the curtain down on the 2019 FIM Motocross World Championship. Jeffrey Herlings leaving it late, but coming through to edge Dutch compatriot Glenn Koldenhoff to cap an entertaining first ever MXGP visit to Shanghai, while Jeremy Seewer clinched second in the championship. A late season surge of form for Koldenhoff, seeing him move past Gautier Paulin into third. Meanwhile, it was business as usual for Jorge Prado. The Spaniard with a 14th 1-1 of the season in his last ever MX2 race. Tom Vial pushed hard but couldn't dislodge Jago Hitz from the top 3 in the class standings. Thomas Kjær finished second. The MXGP World Championship now hibernates for the winter, but we'll be back in just 2 weeks' time for the biggest event of the year, as the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations rolls into Assen for a fitting end to 2019. Bye-bye.